You know, my favorite memory of President Bush 41 was back in 2009 when I was running for Attorney General. It was back when we thought that Kay Bailey Hutchison was going to step down and the Attorney General seat was going to be open. And President Bush invited me to come up to their family home in Kennebunkport. And I didn't know George or Barbara Bush at the time, so they'd invited me up there. And I spent the whole flight up there thinking about, okay, what am I going to ask him? And I decided, you know what, I'm not going to ask him for anything. I'm simply going to go and ask for advice. I'm simply going to say, Mr. President, you are an elder statesman. You have served many, many decades. I'm just starting out in politics. What would you tell a young guy who wants to make a difference, who wants to serve Texas? And then I just wanted to listen. So I went up there. I assumed it'd be a 10, 20-minute meeting, that it would be perfunctory. I was astonished. Number one, he knew everything about the race. He knew everything about all my potential opponents. He knew all of my background, which I was flabbergasted how he knew anything about me. But he'd clearly prepared for the meeting and taken the time to study a bit. And then after about 20 minutes, he said, when's your plane back? And I said, oh, it's in a couple hours. And he said, well, can you stay and go out on the boat with Barbara and me? And I said, Mr. President, plane reservations can be changed. I can stay here as long as you would like. And so he looked at me. I was wearing a suit. He said, well, that's clearly not going to do. So he took me. We got in a little golf cart. We were meeting in the office, which was one building, and then his residence is a different building in Kennebunkport. So he drove me in the golf cart over to the residence, went into his and Barbara's bedroom, opened up the closet, handed me a pair of jeans, handed me a shirt, handed me a belt with a buckle that said President of the United States. It was obviously his belt, and said, here, put this on. So I got dressed. We went out in the boat. Now, it's a summer day off the coast of Maine. Light rain coming down. And this is a former naval aviator. He has the throttle full speed, crashing through the waves. Barbara's in the boat with us. She's sitting up front, being pelted by the rain and just glowing. She could not be happier. And we go to this little lunch shop and have some Maine lobster together. End up spending 4.5 hours with them. As we're on the boat, it was right when the Green Revolution was happening in Iran. And so I was asking, Mr. President, what do you think about what's happening in Iran? And to have a conversation about that with George Herbert Walker Bush, it was incredible. At the end of 4.5 hours, I'm getting ready to leave. I'm headed to the car. And he reaches in his pocket, and he pulls out a check for $1,000 to my campaign for Attorney General. And it's from George and Barbara Bush. And I'm speechless. Look, I am rarely at a loss for words, and I just kind of stammered. I think I got out the words, thank you, but you could have knocked me over with a feather. I was so astonished. I got in the car, I called Heidi, and I said, Heidi, I just had the most magical day. Now, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to spend 4.5 hours with this young guy from Texas who he didn't know from Adam, but that was the kind of graciousness, the kind of generosity, the kind of spirit that he reflected every day of his 94 years. And Texas has really, we've lost a giant and a hero to the state of Texas.